One of the things that I'm excited about is Marion Ravenwood.
Indiana Jones. About time you showed up.
Mom.
Sweetheart, what are you doing here?
Forget about me. You all right? Mom.
Young man, I specifically told you not to come down here.
It was so great to work with Karen again after all these years. She hadn't changed a bit.
I always knew one day you'd come walking back to my campfire.
She is the same feisty Marion Ravenwood as she was when we released the picture in 1981.
I learned to hate you in the last 10 years.
I had heard rumors that this film was in the works for years and years and years. So somewhere in the back of my mind, I thought, wouldn't it be great if they were going to do a fourth one? And wouldn't it be fantastic if they brought my character back into it? But I can't say that I really, believed that that was going to happen. So I'm just, actually I was at my studio one day and the telephone rings and I pick it up and I hear somebody on the phone going, "I've got Steven Spielberg on the line for you." And he said, "I guess you know why I'm calling." And I said, "No, I don't." And he said, "What, haven't you been watching television? Haven't you been reading the papers?" And I said, "No." And he said, "We've just announced we're making the next one, and your character, you're going to be in it. We really want you to be in it." And I had sort of imagined maybe it would be a wonderful little cameo or something. But he told me how, what a major role he wanted my character and me to play in the film. And when I read the script, honestly, I was just like, very, very moved by it, by, what they had done with the character and the wonderful kind of repartee between them as they sort of, mend fences and sort of realize that they still love each other. And yeah, I just thought it was beautiful.
Honey, you gotta stop. We're gonna go off the cliff.
That's the idea.
Bad idea. Give me the wheel.
Trust me.
Marion remains as independent and strong as she ever was.
Dad, you never wrote any of that in the
Marion
letters?
Ravenwood is your mother.
For God's sake, Indy, it's not that hard.
And a lot of the comic fodder comes out of their relationship, and also out of the process of the revelation of his fatherhood.
He's a good kid, Marion. You should get off his back about school.
Mutt,
Not everybody's cut out for it.
His name is Henry.
Henry, good name.
He's your son.
My son.
In the beginning, it was a daughter he didn't know about, and I thought that'd be a great thing. Stephen actually didn't like that idea, and so David revisited the idea again as a son, and then this time we approached him with it. He sort of said, "Okay."
My name's Mutt Williams.
Mutt? What kind of name is that?
That's the one I picked. You got a problem with it?
In the beginning, it was approached kind of as he was a nerd. He was kind of a straight-laced kid that wore suits and things. And then later on, we decided that that isn't really the way it should work. It should work that he's the wild kid, which is what Indy was to his father.
Dad!
Oh.
It's important.
Wait.
No, Dad, you listen. Junior!
So just like he was to his father, that's kind of going off and doing all the wrong things and disobeying and doing all this stuff, now Indy's faced with the same mess.
Get on, Gramps!
The curse returns in the form of his son.
So what are you, like 80? I always like the fact that his name's Mutt, and his father figures were kind of being switched in and out of his life. And so now you got a kid who never really had a stable father, who had a mother who lived a really intense life, never really had a normal upbringing. He's kind of lost. The way Stephen always explained it to me was like man boy, where you got this person who on the outside is trying to present himself as something that he's really not. I'm a man, so look at this knife, look at this bike. I'm a man, look at it, And it's never that simple. I'm ready. Don't give these pigs a thing.
Clearly I've chosen the wrong pressure point. Perhaps I can find a more sensitive one. Приведите женщину!
We couldn't do Nazis again, and I wouldn't have done that anyway. But because of the 50s, the other thing about the 50s was the Cold War, and the Red Menace, as it used to be known in America, and the threat of nuclear annihilation, nuclear intimidation. That was something that was in the headlines every single day. And so the Russians got the job.
Russians?
This ain't gonna be easy.
Not as easy as it used to be.
The skull was stolen from Akator in the 15th century. Whoever returns it to the
City Temple will gain control over its powers. I've heard that bedtime story before.
What the Indiana Jones movies have always done really well is play with existing mythology and bend it to their storytelling purposes, you know. So everything in it is drawn from real mythology.
There may be hundreds of skulls at Akator, perhaps thousands. Whoever finds them will control the greatest natural force the world has ever known. Power over the mind of man.
You know, there are crystal skulls, you know, and there are large groups of people that believe all these things. So, could be true, could be not, we don't know. But the closer you can stick to real legends, the better the movie's going to work, I think.
A mind weapon. A new frontier of psychic warfare. That was Stalin's dream.
There was a lot of history about the Russians having a big program about mind control, ESP. All of those disciplines were researched to try to see if they could figure out other ways of having secret weapons. So that was very big in Russia, and we used that.
Imagine, to peer across the world and know the enemy's secrets, to place our thoughts into the minds of your leaders. And the best part? You won't even know it's happening.
Well, the original title on the original script was Indiana Jones and the Saucerman, and that's what I wanted it to be. And then it went from there to things even like Indiana Jones and the Attack of the Giant Ants.
I said, hey, let's call this Indiana Jones and the yada yada of the Mysterians, until I realized, wait, we can't call it that. There was a movie called The Mysterians, so we had to give that up.
I really, for a long time, thought the movie should be called Indiana Jones and the Son of Indiana Jones. That was my bright idea, but not really.
David Koepp had written out 25 titles. George wrote out some, I wrote out some, and the three of us basically came to the conclusion that, you know, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom, which was a word George insisted on using, of the Crystal Skull was the right balance of mystery and being able to embrace our MacGuffin. But, you know, all the traditions of Indiana Jones are back again. I wasn't trying to reinvent the wheel here. I wasn't trying to make this movie bigger or better. I wanted this to be a blood relative to the other three Raiders pictures. And I just think that we created Indiana Jones, but it belongs to the world. And now we're their custodians. And our job really is to serve up a huge helping of not only what Indiana Jones means to older people who grew up with it, but we need to reintroduce the character to those who didn't. And so those are my responsibilities.